candles are getting low. We have a plan to replace them soon.
You know where the candles are.
They're right.
Yeah.
Okay, we were looking there, and there were some like medium-sized ones. I thought we had switched them actually. They are small.
Yeah, we have.
We're on Elster. Yeah, it's the candle. These will make it. You think these will make it for today?
Yeah, I think we'll be fine for today.
Okay, so we're actually pretty good. Morning. I have a box there.
Or at least, I don't think so. This watermelon represents, yeah. And I admit the box is so heavy this side.
Oh, yeah.
So they seem heavy.
Yeah. Are you there with you here? First time? Good. You guys can- We can start some meditation and some chanting. So, two, first one's about 25 minutes long, and the second one's only about 5 minutes long. And between that, you're sharing with the refugees and people. Do you have a new invention? Let me see if it's here or not. I wouldn't borrow it before. I'm on already, right?
Mind calm, body at ease, breathing quiet, sentiment benevolent. Dharma friends sitting still in vital silence, wanting nothing, we practice eco-Buddhism The sound of the temple bell boom for all to cease from conflict. May the way of Buddha usher in the dawn of non-violent global village forever. Here is the after sound of thunder of silence, light after Dharma rain. Varochana Maha Manipadme, Jvala, Pravartaya.
Please stand and join me in chanting the refuge. So let's take refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, first in Sino-Korean, out of respect to our lineage, and then in English. So just feeling very grounded, the connection of the soles of our feet to the earth beneath us. Right and left sides of the body brought together in this gesture, Hapchang of sincere heart. And then throw your voice in as fast as you can. I go for refuge to the Buddha
I go for refuge to the Buddha
and resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment
and realize the great way.
and realize the great way.
I go for refuge to the Dharma
I go for refuge to the Dharma
and resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will penetrate the teaching
I will penetrate the teachings
and uncover oceans of wisdom.
and uncover oceans of wisdom.
I go for refuge to the Sangha
I go for refuge to the Sangha
and resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many
I will seek peace and happiness for the many
and transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
and transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
Please return to your places for another shorter prayer of meditation. Please join me in some mindful stretching. Please sit comfortably. Then David gets some props. I'm looking at the screen to see if things appear backwards on camera. Perhaps Stacy, if you can hold them up here. This too for a moment.
Want me to stand up? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not on the screen.
Ah,
That doesn't work because it's way too far away, no one can read it. So I guess it means nobody.
I'll stand up for a moment. All right. Thank you so much. The disadvantage of props. So, welcome everyone, dear friends. We're going to spend the month of October talking about the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. For those who are new to Buddhism, this is going to provide you with some context as to what Buddhism is all about. For those who've been practicing for a while, it's like returning to an old friend. So let's begin. I'm just going to begin with the Buddha's very first teaching. Okay, so we are reading from a book called Old Path, White Clouds. This was written by Thich Nhat Hanh, and it sort of provides a wonderful story of the Buddha's life and basic teachings in a way that's very user-friendly. So in this particular thing I'm reading, he's talking about the Buddha's first sermon. So before the Buddha awakened and had his enlightenment experience, he had practiced with a group of 5 ascetics for a period of time. Don't know exactly how long, may have been years, may have been months, something like that. And then he went off to do his own practice to discover his own path. When he returned, then he returned and he wanted to share what he discovered. So this first sermon is him sharing with his friends, his 5 ascetics, what he learned. So the Buddha said, "Then please listen, my friends. I have found the great way. I will show it to you. You will be the first to hear my teaching. This Dharma is not the result of thinking. It is the fruit of direct experience. Listen serenely with all your awareness." The Buddha's voice was filled with such spiritual authority that his 5 friends joined their palms and looked up at him. Kondana spoke for them all. "Please, friend Gautama, show us compassion and teach us the way." So Gautama was the name of the Buddha before he became the Buddha. The Buddha began serenely. "My brothers, there are 2 extremes that a person on the path should avoid. One is to plunge oneself into sensual pleasures. The other is to practice austerities, which deprive the body of its needs. Both of these extremes lead to failure. The path I have discovered is the middle way, which avoids both extremes and has the capacity to lead one to understanding, liberation, and peace. It is called the Noble Eightfold Path, and this is the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path of right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. I have followed this Noble Eightfold Path and have realized understanding, liberation, and peace. Brothers, why do I call this path the right path? I call it the right path because it does not avoid or deny suffering, but allows for a direct confrontation with suffering as the means to overcome it. The Noble Eightfold Path is the path of living in awareness. And then he goes on. Brothers, there are 4 truths: the existence of suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path which leads to the cessation of suffering. I call these the 4 noble truths. The first is the existence of suffering. Birth, old age, sickness, and death are suffering. Sadness, anger, jealousy, worry, anxiety, fear, and despair are suffering. Separation from loved ones is suffering. Association with those you hate is suffering. Desire, attachment, and clinging to the 5 aggregates are suffering. Brothers, the second truth is the cause of suffering. Because of ignorance, people cannot see the truth about life. They become caught in the flames of desire, anger, jealousy, grief, worry, fear, and despair. Brothers, the third truth is the cessation of suffering. Understanding the truth of life brings about the cessation of every grief and sorrow and gives rise to peace and joy. Brothers, the fourth truth is the path which leads to the cessation of suffering. It is the Noble Eightfold Path, which I have just explained. The Noble Eightfold Path is nourished by living mindfully. Okay, so this was Buddha's very first teaching. And today we're going to focus on the Eightfold Path, so we can take this one away. And this one, let's put back here again, now that people have kind of seen it. And then you're able to sit down and join more comfortably. So, the Buddha's very first teaching was about the 4 noble truths and the Eightfold Path. And his very last teaching actually was about the Eightfold Path. So when the Buddha was dying, there was a seeker. The seeker's name was Subhadda, Subhadda. And he came to the Buddha with this question. He said, I've been listening to these teachers, Magda and Koshala. Are they fully enlightened? And maybe Subhadda wanted to know because he was looking for some kind of role model. But the Buddha replied, that's not important whether they are fully enlightened or not. The question is whether you want to liberate yourself. If you do practice the Eightfold Path, wherever the Noble Eightfold Path is practiced, joy, peace, and insight are there. So the Buddha taught for 54 years, and all of his teachings really stemmed from this very first teaching, and ended with the return to the Eightfold Path. So as we look at this, we like to group the Eightfold Path into 3 main categories. We call these the 3 great learnings. So the first is prajna, or wisdom. So that includes right view and right intention. The second grouping has to do with shila, or ethics. And that includes right speech, right action, and right livelihood. So the third group then, I'm going to put this down in a second.
You look like a demonstrator. Right speech now.
So then the third grouping is samadhi. And so this samadhi or meditation includes right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So as I look at these threefold learning, I'd like to return to this now and then for a couple of reasons. So one of them is, I think it's kind of a diagnostic. So when I'm struggling a little bit with my practice, I look at this and say, what is it that I need to focus on and concentrate on right now? Is it my meditation practice? Is it ethical questions? Am I dealing with, questions of wisdom or view or intention? These things. So over the next few weeks, we're going to delve into each of these, but recognize that this is not a linear journey at all. The reason I put these not in a straight line, start with wisdom, go to samadhi, end with ethics, is that they're very interactive. And as you work with them, that's what you discover. So the wisdom, for example, informs right speech. And the samadhi, the meditation practice, informs the wisdom, and so on and so forth. So today, we're going to delve a little bit into prajna, or wisdom. So prajna begins with right view, and this is like sort of a gut level understanding of the Four Noble Truths. So we're back to that original frame of reference about suffering. Remember, the Buddha started his journey with this big question: how can I deal with or end suffering? And he sort of ended with this framework that he developed, realizing that the bottom line is, no, you don't get rid of suffering, but you do learn to transform it. And so one way that helps me to deepen my understanding of the Four Noble Truths is to remember what we call the 5 remembrances. So this is about the nature of suffering and about the cessation of suffering. So it goes like this. I am of the nature to grow old. I cannot escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. I cannot escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. I cannot escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape separation from them. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground on which I stand. So when I reflect upon those 5 remembrances, to me, the first 4 are about the nature of suffering, what it feels like, what the pain is like associated with that suffering, and also the realization that, you know what, this is not just me. These are universal truths that the Buddha discovered. Through his direct experience, he was just describing life as he saw it. And so he said, you know, basically suffering exists, and this is the nature of suffering. And then that last one, my actions are my only true belongings, I think transitions us to the realization of the causes of suffering, which it has to do with my actions, and the karma that I create through my actions. And then once I understand that it's my actions, that empowers me then to think about, well, there may be a way to the transformation of suffering. And the Buddha offers advice on in how to do that in terms of this eightfold path. So when I think about this hope, this faith that there's a way to transform suffering, it's nice to be able to look around me, particularly in the Sangha, in the Buddhist community, and find all sorts of inspiring examples about how people have transformed their suffering, transformed their lives, moved to a better place. So it's not that you get rid of stuff, it's that you learn how to work with it skillfully. So the tasks associated with this deep understanding of the Four Noble Truths are basically understanding and also realizing that we have to let go of some stuff. Letting go is part of the cessation. And then fully embracing the Eightfold Path. So what about that is right view? So starting with wisdom, it starts with this understanding of the Four Noble Truths. I feel like, for me, it feels like that's a lifetime endeavor. So I can't approach this in a linear way, even if I might want to. Because if I wait around for prajna, life's going to be over before I have a chance to do anything about it. So right intention, I think, is a bridge. Right intention is also known as right thought or right aspiration. And in the Dhammapada, the very first chapter, the very first verse is about choices. We are what we think. So here's this thought. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. Speak or act with an impure mind, and trouble will follow you, as the wheel follows the ox that draws the cart. So here's this karma again, being driven by our intentions. We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. Speak or act with a pure mind, and happiness will follow you as your shadow, unshakable. So working with intention, I think, is very interesting kind of endeavor. And last week, John was talking to us about the 6 paramitas, in particular, Dana Paramita, may I be generous and helpful, which in and of itself is sort of an intention. And the examples she brought up also were working with intention. So one example she gave was a conversation with her husband. So her husband needing to listen to her husband bring up some same issues again and again and again. And in order for her to be present, fully present, and to listen deeply, she said that she took a moment just to look at her husband's face and to bring this intention of love and support to mind. The other example that she gave was walking on the streets of New York and seeing all those people. You can just bypass everyone and go straight to your destination or whatever it is that you're doing. Or you can take a moment to be curious about the people that you meet and to be present and engage with them. So working with intentions, one of the key elements is cultivating this type of loving kindness or compassion. And so it's not like the heart is separate from the mind. We don't say right view and right intention are separate things. We group them actually together. They're both part of the wisdom. You need both parts, compassion and sort of this deep knowledge or deep understanding of the Four Noble Truths. So right view informs our intentions, and then all of this leads to maybe action. So cultivating this love and compassion is something that we call bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is a thought of enlightenment. And so it is this deep sort of wish, kind of a self-compassion that we ourselves will awaken and that everyone around us will awaken or share that as well. So bodhicitta, this comes from Shantideva. In bodhicitta, the awakening mind in brief, is said to have two aspects. First, aspiring bodhicitta in intention, and then active bodhicitta for practical engagement. I also find in working with this aspect of intention and bodhicitta that if I can do it from this place of samadhi, which we're going to talk about a lot more in the future, Dharma talk, samadhi or meditation, that I come up with sort of different answers than if I just try to do it from a place of, oh, well, I'm inspired by what this teacher said or that teacher said or something I read, but rather just kind of sitting with it and seeing if I can tap into it from a different place. So every Sunday morning, Hachisunum offers for our members interviews, so member interviews. So if you come to early Sunday practice, you have this opportunity of one-on-one time with Hachisunum, and she works with you on your meditation practice. So today, she was working with me, sort of giving me the advice of tapping into this sort sort of original Buddha nature, bodhicitta, oneness. As I worked with my breath, because when I do my practice, I have this this question that I work with, but that also harmonizes with the breath. So my practice is, what is it? But if I do it as what, and in that pause, something encountered, something new, something more of a original nature. Is it pause, allowing something new to arise? And so working with that actually helped me prepare a little bit for this Dharma talk. Because I have all these notes and things that I will share with you. But it's probably more important for me to take that moment just to pause and to tap into something a little bit deeper, which is, sort of my desire to connect with each and every one of you. And as I look at your faces, I can sort of feel the energy, feel the connection that we have. And using meditation in this global way then helps me work with right intention. So I want to go from here. I think another piece of intention that I wanted to talk about a little bit is the importance of intention in establishing harmony within a community. So we have these 6 harmonies, and in particular, when we're together at Peace Camp with 140 people trying to live together in a peaceful way, we offer these 6 harmonies, one of which is to harmonize with each other in intention and purpose. And so we harmonize with each other if we can sort of align our intentions with one another, and maybe with this great purpose of walking down the path together, of maybe helping to understand and alleviate one another's suffering. So when we do that, for example, we're able to be with one another and listen to each other deeply, to align intentions and to establish harmony. There's just a couple of other practices I would offer, and then I will be interested in hearing what you have to say about these topics. Every evening after practice, we recite 6 right livelihood guidelines. And I think 2 of these guidelines in particular are related to prajna, or wisdom. So one of the guidelines is discover wisdom. Discover wisdom, cultivate don't know mind, find connections between Buddhist teachings and your life, be open to what arises in every moment. So that's what we mean by cultivate wisdom. Another guideline relating specifically, I think, to intention is cultivate compassion and loving kindness. Notice where help is needed and be quick to help. Consider others' perspectives deeply. Work for peace at many levels. connecting to these two bridges in particular helps me practice a little bit more deeply in community and Sangha. And that's a privilege of living here, it's a privilege of coming to Sunday services, it's a privilege of your joining us for like the noontime service that we offer. And for our together action, our work practice after service. I think I'm going to stop there. And now I'm interested in your comments. One thing I'm curious about is it helpful to return to this basic frame of reference, the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, as we share our time together? Or if you have any other thoughts that popped up about what I said.
Yes, it is. That's it.
Yes, it's helpful to return to the Four Noble Truths. They're very profound, and I thank you.
Malum, I appreciate what you said about the Eightfold Path as sort of like a diagnostic tool, because I don't know that I'd ever thought about it in that way, but I can see the value in that, because sometimes we can be going through the motions in a particular area, but we recognize that something is a little out of alignment, and you can kind of see then, well, where am I kind of going through the motions, and how is that seeping through in my expression of one of these ideals. Sometimes there's a little something out of alignment there.
Just wanted to bring in San Ong from Seattle, and she's written in to us here on YouTube. It's just slightly prior to Four Noble Truths, but I'll read it. Thank you for the back to basics, Ma'um. One key takeaway for me from your Dharma talk is a reminder on the practice of cultivating right intentions and actions by slowing down and pausing.
I'm curious, is anybody here for the first time or new to Buddhism? Yeah, I'm wondering if I could just pick on you a little bit to see if this made sense, this frame of reference.
So I feel like in my life I always knew the first three, but I didn't know how to get out of it. So this makes sense. And that's why I'm here. 'Cause I'm in a class about religions. We learned about Buddhism. I was like, that's not right. So here I am to learn that.
So I'm brand new to Buddhism. I have in the past done some research and been on a journey to figure out where I resonate, and so I feel really good here. but in the past, when I've done some research, I've realized that there's different types of practices. And so when I first came here, I felt at home. Really, this place speaks to me. And this past week, I was thinking, this is my third visit. And this past week, I was thinking, all the stuff that you see online just kind of is overwhelming. And so I was thinking this week, it would be really nice if I came in and just learned right from the start. And wow, it's happening. It's crazy. So thank you. This is most helpful. Yeah. Can you hear me? Hi. This is my first time here today. Yeah, I have been to a Buddhist temple in San Diego a couple of years ago. It's been a couple of years. And yeah, I'm not super familiar with everything. I would say, like you were saying, like this is like the first very basics, and like this is all what I'm familiar with. But I've been struggling with a lot of like challenges lately, and I had a really difficult, some really difficult stuff happening to me that has been causing me to have a lot of like resentment and like feeling self-righteous and angry and like all of these things that I know are not really helpful. Like I had a medical professional make a mistake that's caused me some physical damage, and it's not my fault, and I've been really angry, and like last night, and I've just been having these thoughts, and I've been having this like mindfulness of like it's not helpful, like having these trains of thought that are just anger, having these trains of thought that are just like overgoing this conversation in my head with all these people, like it's just so not helpful. And I was thinking last night about the Four Noble Truths and how, and like I really liked the way that you phrased those 5 truths about like this is natural, this is my human body, like there's no way to avoid, having sickness, growing old, like it's not avoidable, and fighting it is only gonna keep causing me pain. And so like I really had this thought that like, okay, what is the eightfold path? Like, okay, I know I need to have a different mindset about this, but I need to like maybe dig in more to like how do I change my mindset? Because yeah, I don't want to cause myself more suffering. And I liked what you said about being able to transform suffering.
Hey, thank you very much for your comments, especially those who are new or here for the first time. It's brave to speak up in a room full of people you don't know. So I really appreciate your listening. Let's close with the 4 great vows, and then we'll have some announcements. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Blind passions, one root, I vow to terminate. Dharma gates, one mind, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to realize. Who's the announcement today? That would be me.
Okay, welcome everyone. Is this one?
I think you're a little far from the receiver.
Do I need it? can hear me, right?
No, she has it, it's just that when you're too far away from the speaker, it doesn't get.
Okay. Speaking of right action, right intention, today, right after this concludes, we invite you to participate in some together action. So this is something we have done each Sunday. It's a beautiful practice. We only take 15 minutes of your time, and we're very careful about that. And for 15 minutes, you have the opportunity to help us in various projects, either in the garden. Today, we're going to be moving some shelving systems and putting some stools and things away. I think you need some help with one person, don't you, with walnuts? Yeah. So if you'd like to participate, if you have time to participate, we would really welcome it, and it's always a beautiful practice. So just meet us right outside in the backyard here, and you will be put on a team, and we'll put you to work for 15 minutes. Secondly, next Sunday at this time, we'll also be focused on some of these basic teachings, but we'll do it from a very different perspective, because we will be joined by our families program, which we do once a month. So how that works is that the families and parents come in for the first part of our service. We have a service and have storytelling, and then the families, the parents, the caretakers go off and do their activities together, and the adults who are here stay and will finish our service and that. I especially want to ask those of you who know teenagers, who maybe are a teenager, to come, because we are going to be starting a new program of teen education during these family services. And we have two coordinators, Osolgil and Ilchi Kaz, who are going to be working with teenagers. And they're going to be focusing on the 5 wisdom energies. So these are energies that we all have inside us, they're character traits, identifying those wisdom energies, what comes up. If we were to do a pie chart, what is most dominant, and how do we work with them in a beautifully skillful way with right intention? So that's what we're going to be focused on. If you know a teenager, ask them to come next Sunday at 10 a.m., and we'd love to work with them. And then after the service next week, everyone who's here is invited to join us for some right donuts and right cider with a right bonfire in the backyard. So we'll all be together. And I think it's supposed to be cooler, a fall day, so it tastes good to have donuts and cider by a fire. And then the next retreat we have a introductory meditation class, actually, as we speak about, which is beginning on October the 12th. And this is 5 Thursdays from 6:30, or is it 6:30? 6:30 to 8:30. So if meditation is something you'd like to deepen, whether you've done it a lot or you've done it a little, this course gives you a lot of basic information about postures, breathing, really essentials to deepen your meditation practice. So there's a sign-up sheet right out there. So if you're interested, please sign up. There is an overnight session for those who don't come into town all that often, which is being offered on December 8th and 9th for the introductory meditation course. Yoga, which we usually do on Tuesday evenings here, has been postponed because our teachers for yoga have been not here. So that's going to be resuming on October 31st. So if you're interested in yoga, drop-ins are welcome. We just ask for a contribution of
It's for a drop-in class, $12. For a series of 5 classes, 6. Series of 6 classes, $60, a bit of a discount.
Okay, great, thank you, Mom. Thank you. And then if you want to put it on your calendars now, the day after Thanksgiving, we do a 1-day retreat called Stop, Don't Shop. And it's a lovely way after either beautiful or stressful times with family to come and to be in your meditation practice. So it's really a wonderful activity. So if you want to put that on tag your calendar. And then finally, we have Recovery Dharma meeting today. Where are we meeting?
We're gonna meet at noon in the historic temple right next door.
Right next door at noon. Okay, and the temple is supported by your kind contributions of time and money. There's a fishbowl outside if you'd like to make a contribution, and you're all welcome to join us in Together Action.
So let's all stand and we'll end our service with 3 formal vows. Again, from a place of groundedness, connection to the earth, connection to each other, hands together in Hapchon. We make 3 formal vows. Yes, if you, those who are sitting on mats and cushions and not touching the carpet, if you would please assist us by putting your mats in the far corner and cushions on the shelves.
I mean, I've got all of that. And then, I need to take that. And then, I'm just starting to work on the